Greetings once more, family. We're continuing on the dreams concerning the assembly, and we are looking at the theme, which is titled Sin in the Assembly. This particular dream, I had it on the 23rd of July 2021. 23rd of July 2021, and I titled it Unfaithful. And unfaithful refers to being adultery, committing adultery, adulterous church, unfaithful, and witchcraft in the assembly. I had a dream where I was in a church setting or an assembly setting, and there were church leaders that were in like a podium, like on a stage. Everybody else, if you think about like in a hall setting, everybody's sitting on the lower part of the hall, and then you've got a stage or a podium. So in the stage or a podium, there were church leaders that were seated then in the front. It seemed like there was a panel discussion that was taking place. So it was like a panel setting that was taking place, and there were members from different churches in the audience. Just like in the panel, also there were leaders from different churches. Also in the audience where I was seated, there were people from different churches. I remembered in the panel, I recognized one pastor. I will also not mention her name, but she's a pastor in Soweto, Shawelo, who was among this audience. Amongst the leaders, there was also a couple that within these leaders, they were actually wearing an African attire. Like when we dress in like African clothes and so forth. So this couple were wearing African attire. The man stood up first with a vibrant song and started speaking afterwards. After singing, he then started, after singing, which he led a vibrant song, he then started speaking. Then his wife stood up, wearing similar clothes. As I said, they were wearing matching colors, African clothes, as the husband. But her dress only covered her front. But as soon as she turned back, I could actually see herself uncovered in a very disgraceful manner, that I could even see her underwear, literally. I could see her underwear. But in the front, she's like dressed beautifully, but behind, she was uncovered to the extent of seeing underwear. Her face, though, was a lady that I also know, who is a CEO in a financial institution, not a pastor. And it clicked in my head to say, but this panelist that I hear in the front, they're all pastors. How come is this lady addressing us, but she's not a pastor? She's actually a CEO of a financial institution that lends money. As soon as I was thinking that in my head, I then heard a voice saying, "My people are unfaithful to me." And remember, this unfaithful refers to committing adultery. It's like a husband being unfaithful to his wife, or the wife being unfaithful to the husband. That's the voice that I heard as I was looking at this scene. The voice said to me, "My people are unfaithful to me." I had people from the audience then saying that people were having sex in the building within the church. So there was fornication that was taking place within this church, within the church buildings, within the assembly. There was fornication taking place. There was adultery taking place in the church setting, in the assembly, as it were. The dream continued to a part where in this crowd, as there's so many audience in this place, I then saw my high school friend who passed away beginning of 2021. And unfortunately, he passed due to the pandemic that happened in 2020. So she passed away in 2021. I went to high school with her. So I asked her, what was she doing in this venue? Because she's dead. I even said to her, why are you here? Why are you doing here? Because you are dead. You died beginning of the year. Because I had this dream in July, the 23rd of July, and she passed away beginning of 2021, which would have been January 2021 or so. And as soon as I confronted her, asking what was she doing, because she's not supposed to be here because she's dead, she just disappeared within the people. I didn't see her anymore. That's when I heard a voice again saying that there was witchcraft that was taking in the place in the church. So the first voice that I heard was that there was unfaithfulness. The voice said, my people are being unfaithful to me. That's the first voice I heard. The second voice I heard was that there was witchcraft within the church or within the assembly. This is how the dream ended. And then I woke up, and the interpretation, I guess, is very clear on this particular dream. But what Yahuwah emphasized when I woke up, as I was pondering on this dream and as I was writing it down, was that the church is full of witchcraft, adultery, idolatry. There are some people that are appointed. There are some people that are self-appointed as pastors, but not because they have a calling of being a pastor. They either appointed themselves or they are self-appointed because they have money. In this case, Yahuwah took me to this woman who was in the podium with other pastors, yet she actually was a CEO of a financial institution that lends money. She was not a pastor. So it was because of the powerful position, influence, and the money, obviously, that she had as a CEO of the organization, that she was listed amongst the pastors. He said that his house is now used as a den of thieves instead of being a house of prayer. Hence, the dream spoke about, reflected on the witchcraft, seeing the dead people walking around in the house of Yahuwah. People looking as they are dressed, but in fact they are uncovered to the extent of seeing their underwear. But behind they are uncovered. In the front there's a facade, a camouflage of looking as something that you actually are not. We need to repent as the house of Yahuwah. We need to repent as the house of Yahuwah. We have allowed his house to have so much shenanigans taking place. He said, do you not know that my house shall be called a house of prayer? You've made it a den of thieves. There's so much adultery, fornication, witchcraft, idolatry that's taking place in the house of Yahuwah. And that's why it talks about judgment will begin in the house of Yahuwah before he even judges the world. And if it starts within the house of Yahuwah, if the obedient are scarcely delivered, how much more shall it happen to those who are outside? We continue with the dreams with regard to sin in the assembly, and we'll continue after this very short break.